I surprised my family with the truth about their schemes during a big family event. My sister clinked her fork against her champagne glass for the third time, smiling so hard her cheeks looked sore, and the whole room finally quieted. Chairs scraping, people shushing kids, the DJ lowering the playlist like we were about to announce a pregnancy. I was halfway through chewing a dry piece of chicken when she said, "Okay, everyone, before we do cake, we have a special surprise for Nana," and she turned her head toward the side door like she was cueing someone backstage. My stomach dropped so fast I actually swallowed wrong. I saw him the second he stepped in, a man in a navy blazer with a leather briefcase, scanning the room like he'd done this 1,000 times. Not a relative, not a friend, not a caterer, a professional. Behind him, my brother Mason hovered with that tight, eager grin he wears when he thinks he's about to win something. Nana sat at the head table in her little silver sash that said Birthday Queen, hands folded neatly over her handbag, eyes bright but a bit unfocused from the noise. My sister kept talking, voice honey sweet. "Nana has decided," she said loudly, "that tonight is the night she makes everything official, so the family can finally move forward." I put my fork down so carefully it didn't even clink. My fingers were suddenly cold, even though the room was warm and crowded and smelled like vanilla frosting and perfume. My heart was doing that ridiculous thing where it thumps so hard you feel it in your ears. I stood up fast enough my chair bumped the table behind me, and a few heads snapped my way. My sister's eyes flicked to mine for a split second, sharp, warning. Then she smiled wider, like she could smother me with politeness. The man with the briefcase paused near the cake table, uncertain. Mason made a subtle sit-down motion with his hand like I was a misbehaving dog. Nana looked up at me, confused, and I saw the smallest wrinkle of worry form between her brows. I walked around my chair and said, louder than I meant to, "No, this isn't happening." The word "no" hung in the air, too blunt for a room full of people holding champagne flutes. Someone gave a nervous laugh, like they thought it was a joke. My sister's smile froze. "Sweetie," she said, still in the microphone, "don't do this right now." Mason's voice cut in from behind the head table, low and angry. "What is your problem?" I looked straight at the man with the briefcase and said, "Sir, you need to leave. She is not signing anything tonight." He blinked at me, then at my sister, then at Nana, and the whole room went so quiet I could hear a kid crinkling a straw wrapper. It was 3 weeks earlier, on a random Wednesday morning, when I first realized they weren't just being pushy about Nana's paperwork. They were building a whole plan around it. I'd stop by Mom's place to drop off groceries because Mom insists on pretending she doesn't need help, even though she'll call me later and cry about how hard everything is. I walked in, juggling a bag of mandarins and Nana's gluten-free biscuits, and I saw paper spread across Mom's dining table like someone had been doing homework. Thick paper, headings, a signature line at the bottom. My first instinct was to glance away because my family is weird about money and privacy, but then I saw Nana's name, typed not written, on the top page. It said something like Amendment to Family Trust in bold. My throat went tight. I picked it up and skimmed, and my brain started doing that slow, sick processing where you understand the words before you can accept them. It was basically a rewrite of Nana's arrangements. The house, the savings, the little investment account Grandpa set up years ago. It shifted everything toward my sister and Mason. I was barely mentioned, and only in that vague, insulting way that feels like an afterthought. My hand started shaking so badly the pages fluttered. Mom walked in behind me and went stiff. "Put that down," she said immediately. I turned. "Why is this here?" My voice sounded too calm for how hard my heart was hammering. Mom's eyes darted to the hallway like she was checking if someone was listening. "It's nothing," she said, which is my family's favorite lie because it buys time. "It's a trust amendment," I said. "It's Nana's." I pointed at the signature line. "Why is it on your table?" Mom's mouth tightened. "Your sister is just organizing things." "Organizing things?" I repeated. "This changes who gets what." Mom's face crumpled in that tired way she gets when she wants someone else to handle the discomfort. "We can't talk about this," she whispered. "Not like this." I should explain the dynamic. Nana is my dad's mom. Grandpa died last year, and Nana has been not herself since. Some days, she's sharp and funny and will roast you in 2 sentences. Some days, she'll call me by my aunt's name and ask where Grandpa is, like he's just at the shops. It's early dementia, not full-time confusion, but enough that you have to be careful. I'm the one who takes her to appointments. I'm the one who checks her medication. I'm the one who sits with her when she gets that panicky look and says, "Something's wrong, I just don't know what." Mason and my sister, Holly, show up for the Instagram moments. A brunch photo, a birthday post. A family is everything caption. Then they disappear until there's something to gain. After I found those papers, I went home and did something I've learned to do as I've gotten older. I stopped arguing emotionally and started gathering facts. Because with my family, feelings are ammo. They'll twist them, weaponize them, laugh at them. But paperwork, dates, messages, they can squirm, but they can't rewrite everything if you have receipts. So I called Nana's lawyer, the actual one who handled Grandpa's estate. I didn't go in screaming fraud. I just said, "Hi, I'm her granddaughter. I'm involved in her care, and I saw something that didn't look right. Can you confirm if there's a new amendment in progress?" The receptionist went quiet and said she couldn't discuss it without Nana's permission, which was fair, but the way she said it told me it was real. Then she added, carefully, "If you have concerns about undue influence, you may want to put those in writing." Undue influence. Those words sat in my stomach like a rock. The next day, Nana called me in tears because Holly had helped her with her banking app, and now Nana couldn't log in. Nana kept saying, "I think I pressed something wrong," and I could hear the shame in her voice. I went over immediately, sat at her little kitchen table that's permanently sticky from jam, and tried to reset her login. That's when I noticed there were new payees added. Big transfers. Not massive, but enough to make my blood run cold. A few hundred here, 1,000 there, always around the same time, every fortnight. The payee names weren't obvious like Holly. There were things like H, consulting, and M, repairs. Q, plausible, easy to explain away. Nana watched me with watery eyes. "I don't remember adding those," she whispered. "I know," I said, keeping my voice gentle because the last thing she needed was panic. "It's okay. We'll sort it." Later that night, I searched my text with Holly. I found a message from 2 months ago where she said, "I'm taking Nana to the bank tomorrow to get her stuff simplified." She wants me to help. I remember Nana telling me she hated banks because they make her feel stupid. I remember Nana telling me, "Holly says I'm too old to manage my own money." Nana never used to talk like that. Nana used to say, "I've outlived 3 prime ministers. I can handle a checkbook." So I asked Nana a simple question. "Do you want Holly handling your money?" Nana blinked at me, confused. "No," she said. She just said she would. She said it's safer. That's the thing about schemes. They don't start with a grand heist. They start with "let me help," and they end with you waking up locked out of your own life. When Mom told me there was going to be a big family event for Nana's birthday, like a proper venue, speeches, the whole thing, I already felt the trap forming. Holly loves a stage. Mason loves an audience. And Nana, sweetly, loves her family gathered, even when it overwhelms her. I knew they'd use the crowd as pressure. They'd make it look like Nana was making a celebratory decision for the family. They'd build a story so anyone who questioned it looked cruel. So I made my own counter-move, quietly. I typed a letter to Nana's lawyer outlining my concerns with dates and specifics. The trust papers on Mom's table, the bank transfers, Nana's confusion about her login, the language Nana used that didn't sound like her. I asked for a capacity assessment to be on record before any documents were signed. I also did something that felt gross but necessary. I started recording my conversations with Holly and Mason when the topic came up, not secretly with spy gadgets, just on my phone in my pocket when we were already talking loudly. Because I knew they'd deny everything later. And Holly, being Holly, walked right into it. A week before the party, she rang me and said, "Just so you know, I'm doing something special for Nana at her birthday. Don't freak out." My stomach tightened. "What kind of special?" "It's about security," she said quickly. It's about peace of mind. Nana wants it. Mom wants it. Everyone wants it. You're the only one who makes things difficult. What exactly are you doing? I asked, voice very flat. She sighed dramatically into the phone. We're just getting things signed, so there's no fighting later. Grandpa would hate fighting. Nana wants her legacy honored. Legacy, I repeated, tasting the word. Who benefits? Holly went quiet, then laughed like I was being childish. Why do you always assume the worst? God, you're exhausting. There it was. The moment she revealed the shape of it without even realizing. Because if it was truly Nana's wish, there'd be no need to shame me into silence. I didn't warn her I had the lawyer letter ready. I didn't warn her I'd already spoken to Nana's doctor about capacity assessments. I just said, I'm not okay with Nana signing anything in a crowded room. Holly snapped. It's happening either way. Don't ruin her birthday. And that's the line that made me certain. They were willing to do it even if Nana didn't fully understand, as long as it was wrapped in candles and applause. Which brings us back to the hall, the microphone, the briefcase, and my voice saying no into a room full of relatives who suddenly looked like they'd been dropped into a different movie. My sister lowered the microphone slowly, her smile slipping into something colder. You are humiliating Nana, she hissed, but she made sure to say it in a stage whisper that carried. People shifted in their seats. A couple of cousins exchanged wide-eyed looks like, oh my God, it's happening. My uncle cleared his throat like he wanted to disappear into his shirt collar. Nana looked from Holly to me, confused, and that twist of fear hit my chest again because the last thing I wanted was Nana feeling like she caused a fight. Nana, I said gently, moving closer to her so she could focus on me, not the room. Do you know why that man is here? Nana blinked. 4 photos, she said uncertainly. Holly laughed too brightly. Nana, it's okay, it's not photos, I said, still to Nana. He's here to have you sign paperwork. Nana's eyes widened. Paperwork? She repeated, like the word itself made her tired. Mason stepped forward, face flushed, trying to take control. It's nothing scary, he said, adopting his customer service voice. It's just making sure your wishes are respected. You said you wanted it, Nana. Nana looked at him, hesitating. She glanced at Holly. Did I? She asked, and my heart cracked a little because she sounded like a child being told what she wanted. Holly's eyes flashed at me like a warning. Yes, she said quickly. Remember? You said you wanted to make it official so everyone would stop stressing you out. I watched Nana's face do that searching thing, trying to find the memory, trying to please everyone by agreeing. That's the exact moment schemes succeed, when someone vulnerable chooses harmony over certainty. I opened my folder and pulled out a single page, not the whole mountain, just one page that mattered. I held it up for Nana, not for the room. Nana, I said softly, this is the document they want you to sign tonight. I want you to read the heading. Nana squinted. I can't see, she murmured. I leaned in and pointed. It says Amendment to Family Trust. That means it changes what happens to your house and your money. Nana's mouth opened slightly. My house, she whispered. Holly's voice went sharp, losing the sweetness. For God's sake, don't confuse her. I turned my head toward Holly, and my calm finally cracked into something harder. You've been confusing her, I said. That's the point. Mason stepped closer, jaw tight. You're making accusations in front of everyone. Yes, I said, because you brought a notary to a birthday party. That got a ripple, small, uneasy laughter from someone near the back because it sounded absurd when you said it plainly. Holly's face went stiff with rage. She reached for the microphone again. Everyone, ignore this. She's been stressed and... Stop, I said, louder, and the room went silent again. My hand was shaking, but my voice held. You want the truth? Here. I didn't launch into a 10-minute rant. I did it the way I've learned works with families like mine. Short, specific, undeniable. I found trust amendment papers on Mum's dining table 3 weeks ago, I said. Documents that shift Nana's assets to Holly and Mason. I held up the page so people nearby could see the bold headings and the typed names. I also found unexplained transfers from Nana's bank account to payees added recently. Payees Nana says she doesn't remember adding. A couple of gasps. Mom made a strangled sound. Holly's eyes went wide with fury and panic, which is always a tell. And I added because I knew this was the dagger. Nana didn't even know why this man was here. She thought he was a photographer. Nana's hand tightened on her handbag. I did, she whispered, voice small. I thought it was photos. Holly's face twitched, and for a second the mask slid completely. Because you don't listen, she snapped at Nana, then immediately seemed to realize what she'd done because the room collectively inhaled. Mum moved toward Nana, flustered. Holly, Mum hissed, horrified. Mason tried to salvage it with his usual charm. Everyone look, this is getting blown out of proportion. Nana knows what she wants. She's been clear. My sister is just. Stop calling her my sister like that makes you safe, my Aunt Marlene said suddenly from the second table, voice cold. Everyone turned. Marlene is the family member who usually stays neutral, but when she speaks, people listen. She looked straight at the man with the briefcase. Are you a notary? She asked. He cleared his throat, looking like he wished he'd stayed home. Yes, ma'am. I was engaged to witness signatures. On a trust amendment, Marlene pressed. He hesitated. I can't disclose the full contents, but... So you brought a legal witness to an 82nd birthday party, Marlene said, slow, disbelieving, like she was tasting the insanity. To have an elderly woman sign documents in front of cake. Holly snapped. She's not elderly like that. She's fine. Nana flinched at Holly's tone. I stepped closer to Nana, hand hovering near her shoulder without touching, because Nana hates being grabbed. Nana, I said quietly, you don't have to sign anything tonight. You could decide later, with your lawyer, privately, with time. Nana's eyes filled with tears. I don't like this, she whispered. I don't like everyone looking. I know, I said. I'm sorry. Holly's voice rose, losing control. So you're just going to accuse us and walk away? You're trying to steal Nana from us because you want everything for yourself. That accusation was so predictable it almost made me laugh, but my chest hurt too much. I shook my head. I don't want everything, I said. I want Nana protected. Mason leaned in, teeth clenched, voice low so only I could hear. If you do this, you'll regret it, he hissed. I looked at him and felt something settle again, like the fear had finally burned out. You're already doing it, I said. I'm just not letting you do it quietly. I turned to the notary. Sir, I said clear, you are not witnessing any signatures tonight. Nana is overwhelmed, and this is not an appropriate setting. Please leave. He looked at Nana. Nana's eyes were wet and frightened. That was enough. He nodded, tight-lipped, and started backing away, clutching his briefcase like a shield. Holly's face went bright red. You can't just, she started. But he was already moving, because even people hired to witness signatures don't want to be part of a family implosion where an older woman looks confused and scared. The room broke into noise, whispers, questions, relatives talking over each other. Mom looked like she might faint. Holly stood frozen, breathing fast, like she couldn't believe the script had changed. Mason's fists were clenched at his sides. Nana's shoulders were shaking. I did the only thing that mattered to me in that moment. I crouched beside Nana's chair so she could see me properly, and I said softly, Do you want to go home? Nana nodded immediately, relief flooding her face so fast it made my throat sting. Yes, she whispered. Please. So I helped her up. I grabbed her cardigan, her handbag, her little birthday sash that suddenly felt cruel. I guided her through the room while people stared. Some relatives reached out, murmuring, It's okay, love, but most just watched like they couldn't decide who to pity. As we passed Holly, she stepped in front of us, blocking the path. Her eyes were wild. You are ruining her birthday, she hissed. I stared at my sister who'd been smiling into a microphone while trying to get Nana to sign away her assets. And I said quietly but firmly, You ruined it when you turned it into a transaction. Holly's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Mason moved like he was about to follow us, but Aunt Marlene stepped in his way without even thinking, and the look she gave him was sharp enough to cut. Let her go, she said. Outside, the night air hit my face like a reset. Cool. Damp. My hands were trembling as I unlocked my car. Nana climbed in slowly, wiping her cheeks with a corner of her cardigan, and she whispered, "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "I know," I said, and my voice cracked on the second word. I blinked hard, started the engine, and drove away while my phone lit up repeatedly in my bag. Mum calling, Holly texting, Mason calling, then calling again. The hall's music thumped faintly through the walls as we pulled out of the car park, like the party was trying to pretend it could continue without the person it was supposedly for. At Nana's house, I made her tea and sat with her at her small kitchen table. The overhead light buzzed slightly. The house smelled like lavender and old books. Nana stared at her mug, hands wrapped around it, and said, "They said it was to stop fighting." My throat tightened. "They used that," I said. "They used your desire for peace." Nana nodded slowly. "I just want everyone to be okay," she whispered. "I know," I said, "but you don't have to pay for everyone's okay with your safety." She looked up at me then, eyes watery but clearer than they'd been all night. "Are you angry at me?" she asked, small voice. That question broke something in me. "No," I said immediately. "Never. I'm angry at them. And I'm sad. And I'm tired." Nana reached across the table and patted my hand like she used to when I was little. "Thank you," she whispered. The fallout came fast, because of course it did. Mum showed up at my door the next morning with red eyes and that frantic look she gets when she wants to tape a family back together with her bare hands. "Why would you do that in front of everyone?" she demanded, voice shaking. "You humiliated your sister." I stood there in my slippers, feeling like my body was still buzzing from the night before. And I said, "They brought a notary to Nana's birthday party." Mum flinched. "It was meant to be a beautiful moment," she insisted. "A beautiful moment," I repeated, disbelief sharp in my chest. "Mum," Nana thought he was a photographer. Mum's face crumpled for a second, guilt flashing. Then she did what she always does. She pivoted to the person who would absorb it. "Holly's beside herself," she whispered. "Mason says you've been plotting. They think you want Nana's money." I laughed, one short sound, because if I didn't, I'd cry. "They can think whatever helps them sleep," I said. "Nana is not signing anything without her lawyer and a capacity assessment." End of story. Mum stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. "You're tearing the family apart," she whispered. "No," I said, voice steady. "I'm refusing to help them do it quietly." Over the next week, my sister tried every tactic. She sent long texts about betrayal. She sent voice notes, sobbing dramatically about how I stole Nana's moment. She posted vague quotes online about snakes in the family. Mason tried intimidation, showed up at Nana's house once, unannounced, and I told him through the screen door to leave. When he didn't, I called Marlene, and Marlene came over like a storm in human form. He left. Nana's lawyer scheduled a private meeting with Nana. I went with her, sat in the waiting room, and let Nana speak for herself. Nana told the lawyer she didn't want anything signed at the party, and she didn't remember agreeing to changes. The lawyer's face stayed neutral, professional, but the tightness around his mouth told me enough. He arranged for a formal capacity assessment. He recommended Nana appoint an independent trustee if needed. He suggested tightening access to her accounts. That night, Nana told me, "I don't want Holly helping with my bank anymore." I felt a wave of relief, so strong it made me dizzy. "Okay," I said. "We'll fix it." We did. We changed passwords. We removed payees. We set up alerts. Nana chose who could help her, and it wasn't decided by who shouted the loudest. The weirdest part? After the drama cooled, relatives started reaching out quietly. Cousins who'd been at the party messaged. I didn't know it was like that. An uncle admitted, grudgingly, that bringing a notary was a bit much. Even Mum, weeks later, sat at my kitchen counter and whispered, "I didn't realize how far they'd go." She said it like she'd been watching it happen from inside a fog. I'm not going to pretend it was a clean victory. It wasn't. I still wake up some nights replaying Nana's face when everyone was staring at her. I still feel sick when I think of Holly snapping at Nana in front of the whole room. I still feel that familiar guilt itch when Mum sighs and says, "We used to be close." But then I remember the locksmith-like professionalism of that briefcase, the casual way my sister tried to turn Nana's birthday into a signing ceremony, and the guilt turns into something steadier. Because here's what I learned in the most humiliating way possible. My family's peace is often just silence bought by one person swallowing harm. That night, I stopped swallowing. I didn't do it because I wanted to be the hero. I did it because Nana deserved one moment where the loudest people didn't get to decide what happens to her life. I did it because I couldn't stand the idea of waking up in 6 months to find out Nana's house was officially theirs and Nana didn't even remember signing away control. I did it because if I'd waited for a better time, there would never be a better time. There would only be another event, another microphone, another beautiful moment built on pressure. And yeah, I surprised them. Not with a dramatic speech or a screaming match. With the truth, said plainly, in the one place they thought I'd never dare to say it. In front of witnesses. I still don't know what our family looks like long term. Holly and Mason are telling anyone who'll listen that I manipulated Nana. Mom is still trying to patch things with tears and denial. Nana is calmer now that her accounts are safe, but she's sad. She keeps saying, why would they do that? Like her brain can't fit the idea of greed into the shape of her children. I don't have a satisfying ending where everyone learns a lesson and apologizes with swelling music in the background. What I have is Nana sitting at her kitchen table, sipping tea, looking at me and saying, I feel safer when you're here. What I have is my sister's rage proving I hit the truth. What I have is the knowledge that one ruined party is better than a lifetime of Nana being quietly exploited. If they wanted a smooth night with cake and speeches, they should have planned one. Instead, they planned a scheme. So I gave them the one thing they weren't ready for in a room full of people: daylight.